All right, let's get to our next guest. Cédric Essiminy is a spokesperson with the Olympic Park, and he was on last week. We had so much fun with him going over the Olympic Stadium, but we also had so many questions, and he has graciously accepted to come back onto the program. Cédric, thanks for coming back on.
Thank you for having me, Elias.
Near the end of our interview last week, and we had to cut it short, obviously, we got so many things going on in the program, but near the end of the interview, the question of revenues came up, like the money that Olympic Stadium brings in. And I got questions from listeners on that, and I'm really interested in it. So, let's talk about the Olympic Park as a viable enterprise. Because, if you want to make the case to me, we need to keep Olympic Stadium, we need to pour money in it. If you can say, hey, we're making money, I'm all in. If you're making money, I'm all in. So can we talk about that now? Give our listeners what's happening when it comes to revenues and expenses at the Olympic Park.
Okay, first and foremost, thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me the time to explain this because it is a complex issue. You have to see the Olympic Stadium and the Olympic Park as public equipment. So when you look at it as such, the Olympic Park is too big to say it's going to generate revenue that will pay for itself. So you got to see it like a museum, like a Congress place, like a library, which is an equipment that gives a service to the public. In the case of the Olympic Park, what is the service that is given to the public? It's to give them access to high-level equipment to a part of the population that don't usually have access to it. So let's say the sports center, it's something that gives access to the general public, like you and me, to high-level equipment such as pool, such as sporting facilities, same thing of the skate park. Saying that, the revenue that we generate normally is around 17 million each year. Mm-hmm. So, and when I tell this number to people, they are really curious about it. For real, you guys are making 70 million each year? The answer is yes, because maybe we are not being covered enough, which is probably our fault because we don't have the coverage or we don't put enough energy to have the coverage. But there's a lot of events that are happening that people don't usually know about because they don't have interest in it. For example, if you talk about DreamHack, do you know DreamHack?
Don't know.
DreamHack is the largest competition of esports in Canada, and it's hosted at the Olympic Stadium since 2018. Do you know the monster truck?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Some people don't have interest in it, which is fine. We're fine with it. But those kind of events gathers large amount of people. So from a general point of view, we usually have coverage when we have the baseball, when we have the Impact, when we have the Alouettes and stuff like that. But there are also a large amount of events that are happening inside the stadium that generates revenue for us. The filming, when we are used as a filming location, we have maybe 2 or 3 filming locations each week at the stadium all year long. So all those events are generating revenue.
Right.
The pandemic, go for...
Just Cédric, when you said 17, you meant 17, 17 or 70, 70?
17.
17. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this is the amount that we have roughly each year, and this is what happens since the end of this expo. Funny thing, interesting fact is that we, at the end of the expo, we were not making more money that we are making right now. Mm-hmm. So what does this say to us? It means that to have a team, a home team like a baseball team in a stadium is not that lucrative as people think it is. Why? Because when there's a home team that has a stadium, they use it exclusively for the team. So you're not able to rent the space because they need to keep it for practice. You cannot use the field because they don't want that the field be broken by the other activities. So us, by changing our purpose and be able to have numerous events on each places, we're able to generate more revenue than we had in the last few years of the Expos.
We're with Cédric Essiminy, continuing with Cédric Essiminy. He's a spokesperson for the Olympic Park. We're talking about the Olympic Stadium and its future and how much it costs to run. Cédric, I think you've got the friends texting us at 514-800. Patrick from Pancor sends us this message. I love the Olympic Stadium. Minus the location. He wrote that, minus the location. I'd love to see it one day renovated and reach its full potential. I feel it's important for a major city to have a large capacity stadium.
Yes, and it's really interesting what he's saying, because you know what happened at the BC Place? We are looking at what happened at the BC Place back in 2015.
Yes, the major stadium in Vancouver for everyone, yeah.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same kind of owning that we have at the Olympic Stadium, which is the BC Police is provincially owned, and the government there injected $600 million for renovating the thing. So we went from a place that was not loved by many people. With that $600 million, now it's a diamond in the city. You know, everybody loves it and all that. So what we are aiming here is to show Quebec, to show Canada, what are the possibilities of the stadium. And with that, we want to convince people to say, well, you know, if we renovate it, the possibility can be limitless. You know, we can have a lot of things happening. Of course, it was built in 1975. There was no internet back then. The rules were not the same, and we had our fair share of problems. I'm the first to admit it.
Okay, so I want to get to that because you bring up the decade, right, that it was built.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Cédric. When you look at that era and you look at North America, virtually every stadium built at that time has been deemed by cities to have been a mistake and demolished. And, you know, there's something about the 70s. You look at the fashion, you look at the architecture, you look at the music. We're all like, okay, we don't really like the 70s. And that's the thing here. You know, the Olympic Stadium, and I'm talking about the stadium part. Some people, when I knock the Olympic Stadium, when I knock the Olympic Stadium, I'm really talking about the circle, the oval where the sports teams would play. I love the tower. I love the rest of the Olympic Park area because I see the usefulness. It's the stadium itself where I go, oh, there must be so many better things we could do with that land.
Yeah. The stadiums that were built in America in the 70s were not made in concrete. They were most made of steel. So the Olympic Stadium is one of the few, if not one of the few in America that is built in concrete. Regarding the architecture, we did a patrimonial study that was made by Docomomo with the University of Montreal, and they told us, you know, this has a patrimonial value. Mm-hmm. Us as Quebecers, we are not we don't have the same sensitivity that Europeans have regarding patrimonial equipment. So those things need to be maintained, need to be constructed, need to be replaced with some sensitivity, because you cannot do nothing. So we are past the era where we demolish everything to renovate it. There is an architectural, there is an emotional value of the Olympic Stadium. Mm-hmm. There are things that are happening right now that we keep inside between our teams, and that we are looking at to show what can we do to put the stadium inside the 21st century. And I tell you, I've seen the pictures, I've seen the study, I've seen the possibility, and it's really, really something that is really inspiring.
But and you've probably also seen... sorry, Cedric, just sorry to cut you off there, but you've probably also seen the dollar signs attached to that vision.
Of course.
And
of
so
course.
I want to get into the expenses, $17 million of revenues. And by the way, you started off this interview with a very good point. A lot of public institutions lose money, and it's because it's a government facility, and we accept that in society, that certain government things are going to lose money because they provide the value, right? But let's talk about currently, right now, Olympic Stadium. What are the annual expenses to keep it operating? And then secondly, for all of those visions for the future, how much would it cost?
Okay. Regarding the revenue, we've said it's around 17 million each year. We also have, in French, we say operating subsidies of 17 million. That is given each year.
Did you say 70 this time?
No. 17 million.
17, another one. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So roughly, we are around 50-50. Okay, 50% comes from our revenue, and there's another 50% that come from an operating subsidies. If you compare it to other public equipment, in the term of percentage, most of the museum, public library, they are around 20% revenue, 80% subsidies. So when we are looking at in a percentage point of view, we are fairly good. But as you may know, the stadium, the value today of the stadium is around $3.5 billion. That means that if we wanted to build the same thing that we have right now, which is the stadium, the tower, the Olympic Aquatic Center, and all that, it would cost $3.5 billion. So, Elias, of course, when you have a house that's worth $3.5 billion, when you maintain it, when you put money in it, it's going to be money that it's be proportional to the value of the stadium.
You threw in the tower there, and like I said, I don't like the tower's got to stay. The tower's the skyline. I love it. It's that stadium because, like you say, it's $3.5 billion. To build a new stadium, state of the art, fully functional, would cost like $500 million, right? You know, in another piece of a part of town.
Yeah, but the $3.5 billion is the complete park with the subways, with the tower, with the biodome and all that, with the Parc Maisonneuve. So because we see it as a whole, we see it as a district. Repairing and renovating the stadium, and if we look at what we have right now, we already have the subways. We already have the parking lots. We already have all the municipality services, which is aqueduct, electricity, and all that.
All in place.
If you build a stadium freshly from the ground, you won't have all those services. You know, the stadium is one thing, but you got to put the parking around
infrastructure,
it.
a whole other
the
issue.
Infrastructure, the subway, and all that. We have 2 subway stations that are able to gather large equipment, a lot of people.
Cédric, we got to leave it there. Once again, we're out of time because we could literally talk for 3 hours about this. I want to thank you for coming on. Real pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Elias.